Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show here on ChannelOne television. Here on The Point of View, we pick the right topics, get the right guests, and ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. The National Service Scheme has been in the cosh, really, from last year, end of the year, prior to elections. There was a massive scandal uncovered by journalists at the Fourth Estate, and this story led us into the elections. The matter has come up again because the president has ordered a further investigation into the activities of the National Service Authority. So tonight, we speak to journalists from the Media Foundation for West Africa sponsored Fourth Estate, who tell us what they did. We also speak to the current director, the new director of the authority, on what will happen to the scheme now that these matters have been uncovered. Stay with us. Welcome back. So tonight we're speaking first to Kweku Krobe Asante from the Fourth Estate, and they have been working on this story for quite a while. Indeed, they were to publish this sometime last year, but there were some legal issues that prevented them from going out with it. Now the matter has come up again, and the President of the Republic has ordered further investigations into activities at the National Service Scheme. So Kweku is joining me in studio. Later on, we'll speak to Felix Jemfi, who is the director of the NSA. He is newly appointed. Kweku, welcome to the show. Good evening.
Pleasure.
Good to have you. So, how many of you have been working on this story, and how long have you been working on it?
Well, typically at the Fourth Estate, we all work on a story, but you will see two
names.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's a team effort.
I see.
All come together.
So, but this is your work, you and
yes.
Seth.
Yes,
both
my work, Seth and I. Yeah.
So, I think we heard of this story in the run-up to the election. Was this November or December?
November.
November.
Yes.
So, for some reason, you couldn't publish the story. Just walk me through the sequence.
So in November, when we were done with our investigations, we wrote to the NSA for two things. One, requesting for information under their RTI law. Two, requests for interview so that we could get their side of the story, put the allegations before them so that they could respond to it. Now they responded that they wouldn't be available to speak to the issues until somewhere after December 10th.
Okay.
And then the RTI reports, they also said that they will need more time to collect the information. I must say that the information we were requesting for was information they had already presented to Parliament, but we also needed to get a copy, a certified copy from their end. They said they needed more time to put the information together. We decided that that can't delay our story. Our story must be heard. We've given them the opportunity to respond. Then when we announced that we were going to release the story, they went for an injunction, ex parte injunction for 10 days. When the 10 days expired, they went for another one, so that took us somewhere well into December 18, December 19, thereabout. So we had to go to court decisions. The court decided that it was a waste of their time. Classic case of a slap suit. The NSA was fined 6,000 Ghana cedis, and then we went on a break, as in the Christmas break. So we resumed now, decided to put in more work, and then decided to publish. Just when we are putting it out, the new government also decided to do their own head count on the recent batch, and then they end up affirming what we had already been put out before the.
So your work covered which period?
Our work covered from 2017 to 2023, 2024 service year. Yes, but this government's work decided to look into the current batch, 2024 to 2025.
So we understand there was a request for payment. And when the request got to the Finance Ministry, they noticed a discrepancy and ordered investigation.
Good.
So it wasn't necessarily based on all your work.
Yes. Well, at some point we may want to take credit for it, but this had been coming.
Of course.
It's the background that came into it. We went to the OSP. Somehow the petition we sent to the OSP got to the media, and so people could see the details of the report. I wouldn't be surprised if it was what really instigated the Finance Ministry to say, can we go into these ghost names and see, or the payroll and see, and then therefore realizing that 81,000 more people had been put in.
Okay. We'll get into the details of the story. I'm still trying to get the sequence. So when did you have your interest piqued in this story, and for how long have you been working on it until we got to November when the injunction came? Well,
the NSA for the average journalist who covers politics, looks at the issues, it always comes up in the conversations. Personnel are not being paid, the conditions, all the rumors there are. I remember in 2022, we did a story about service personnel and the ordeal they are going through because of the non-payment of allowances. Then we got a lot of information about what was really going on. So we decided to take some time to look into it. But the nature of this story is such that when you are seated from outside, it's very difficult to tell, right? But eventually,
so this was the story, Too Broke to Serve, the plight of unpaid national service personnel.
That's right.
April 2022.
Good.
So this was the first story you did that gave you an idea of something was going on.
When we spoke to the service personnel, it was bizarre. And for anybody who is in this system, you need to be worried about what is happening in there. So into the year 2024, when we started getting the intel and the information and other documents to support it, we knew that it was the right time to hit and then to come to town with certain.
And then you did this all the way to November.
Yes.
So how did the matter get to court when you wrote to them to give you their side?
Yes.
But and they went ex parte?
Yes.
Okay.
So one, we wrote for an RTI application to get some data. And then we wrote to them requesting for an interview with the directors, not to say even the director general, anybody who's in a position to respond to the questions that we had about the ghost names, and all that. And then they responded to the RTI saying they will need more time. They responded to the interview saying they will only be available after December 10th, right? Which we felt was going to delay our story. And so we decided that we will announce.
But did you go back to them after December 10th for the information?
By December 10th, we were already in court.
Okay, on the injunction?
Injunction.
But then, of course, after 2 hearings, the matter was thrown out.
Yes.
So what is the main issue here? What is the main finding?
So maybe in 2-3 broad areas.
Yes.
Number one, what we call the ghost names.
Okay.
Ghost names in the sense that what the National Service Authority tells us as the number of personnel is different from the number of people they have in their data, which data we believe eventually gets onto the payroll and are paid. At least now the government has come to confirm. 2, beyond that, we see how they do this, how they pack the ghost names in, which is what the story is trying to say. How they use overage people, 80, 90-year-olds, put their data in there, how they create fake index numbers in the name of universities so that they could justify them, and then how they eventually just pardon, funny names. And when I get to show you on the screen, you would see how funny names popping up. One person, a single name could be repeated 226 times.
226
times, yes.
Wow.
Such person has completed the same university, read the same program, the same year, and deployed.
It's certainly odd. It's odd.
A lot of, odd happenings in the data, pointing to the fact that some people have intentionally done that. And then a part of the story also showing that we speak to some of the regional directors in the system where a system that is supposed to help them do a good work is being sidestepped. So a regional director tells us that every time he goes into the system where he has to confirm people who would be paid allowances, he will go in there and there are 995 names already confirmed in his name.
So this appears to be centralized.
Good.
I want you to, you came with a presentation on the story. So I'd like you to go and walk me through the presentation. Viewers, this is the point of view. We're talking to Kweku Kobe Asante, who is one of the journalists at the 4th Estate, who have done a story on the National Service Secretariat. They call it the inside story, the NSS scandal. So apart from the story they've written, they've actually put together a presentation to explain this work they've done. So Kweku, thank you for, can you walk me through what you have by way of the slides?
Okay, thanks, Bernard. So what we have here are the officials of the National Service Secretariat, now National Service Authority, from the period of 2017 to 2024. The period which we focus our investigations in. So you have Nanabi, Henry Nanabuachi, you have Honorable Mustafa Yusuf, former sports minister, a member of parliament. You have the former, well, just the government that ended, Osesi BNP, who was the
immediate past
Director General, immediate past. Yeah. Thank you. And then you have Gifty Owari Mensah, who was also a deputy director. Then one gentleman called Kweku Ohinijan, who was also a deputy director for the NSA. Our point is not necessarily to say these are people who have stolen money, so to say, but our point to say these were the people who were in charge of the scheme.
So you are saying this happened under them?
Under them, exactly.
You are not directly accusing them of anything.
Yes.
You are saying it happened under their watch.
Yes.
So they should have made sure it didn't happen. Exactly. Or investigated and found out. Go on. Fair enough.
Thank you. So we find...
No, okay. I think I need to kind of help you. Yeah. Go back to 100. Good.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So the first point is the discrepancy we found between the data. Every year, the National Service Authority holds a press conference to announce to the public the number of personnel that are due to be deployed or that are being deployed to various areas. And this is media data, essentially. You Google National Service Deployment 2017-2018, you will see these figures.
And this is always the final list of people they announce to the public?
The public at a press conference.
Okay. And so that's in the orange column, announce yes. Eligible personnel.
Announce eligible personnel. It's a tradition they do every year. Now, in our investigations, we got data that the National Service Authority last year submitted to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education when they went to do a presentation, showcasing what they claim to be how they have revamped the whole secretariat and the systems. So in that presentation, they submitted this data to Parliament. And as you know, we often say Parliament is the House of Records, and documents that are presented, they becomes working documents for the state. So this is a public record that we assess from parliamentary data filed to mean the deployment data that the personnel is submitting to Ghana's parliament, on record. Now we compared the data over the years. So starting with 2017 and 2018, the NSA announced to the public that 91,871 people were being deployed. When it compares with the data that was shared to Parliament, we realized that there was actually a drop of about 2,932, about 3%. When we inquired from experts, they tell us this is actually the norm, that the number of people they announce, and say this is the people we are sending out, eventually some do not go. Distance, somebody is not well, somebody has gained employment right after school, and is not sure they can go to a village or to a school to go and teach, so they do not show up. But right after that year, 2018, 2019, we begin to see a certain trend where the data is jumping. So NSA says we deployed 87,708 people. Parliamentary data on record says 135,603. That is 49,895.
So so basically they are claiming more people deployed than people eligible.
Exactly. And in some cases, if you compare, you can see as high as 56%, 58%.
So you created the column called Ghost Name because you believe that if the number of people deployed by what you submitted to Parliament is more than the people who are eligible, then you are saying that the people in the right column don't exist.
You're not supposed to be on the list.
Because payment is released not based on column 1 but column 2.
Column 2, yes. And so it continues from 2020-2021 service year, 2021-2022, like that 2022-2023 because of time, 64,000 at some point for 2022, 2023-2024, 59,867. Now in 2024-2025, we've put asterisk, and this is not even coming from us. This is the work of the government. Just last week, the release that they gave, that they did a head count, the Ministry of Finance decided to do a head count, and they find 81,885. essentially confirming what we have been saying from November and the trend that has been happening in the space.
So I am suspecting that the figure in 2024-25 should be 198,000, or because you have generally the deployed personnel should be lower.
Yes.
So it should be a bigger figure. So
yes, that's right. It's 198,000. Thanks for the correction.
Or a bigger figure, because if the number of personnel eligible is 180,000, or if I be switch places.
Yes.
Do you understand my point?
Yes, I get you.
In the bottom figure, but let's go on. So the 2024 is what the government is investigating.
Yes.
All right.
This is what the government has put out that they are investigating. Essentially, we are saying that it ties into what we have been saying from last year.
Good.
Now, we try to put some numbers to it. Beginning from 2018, 2019, already in 2017, we realized that the numbers actually fell. But in 2018, 2019, when it started rising, we decided to do the calculation based on the ghost names and how much each person will be taking. So the service has been paying 559 allowance to personnel every month. So it's just basic arithmetic. This number times the figure
505
times 12.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the figures in the
figures
potential loss.
In blue, potential annual financial loss to the state.
I see. And you think when you put all that together, it's 2 billion?
2.2 billion. And we do this even for 2024, 2025, only counting 4 months, because they've been working from October, November, December, and January.
But don't forget, 25 has not been paid yet.
Okay.
Because the government noticed the discrepancy, they have not made the payment.
Well, we say potential.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, wow.
I think I should be able to sort this out.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
So you're saying there's at least 2 billion CDs?
That has been lost, potentially.
Good. Now you're trying to, what does this slide do?
So here we begin to explain how they do this. How do they go about this? Now the scheme is set up in such a way that now they've put a system, the universities submit names of their personnel, people who are graduating from. So take a university like UUW. This year we submit the names of people who are graduating from our own system, give you their index number from school to say these are our personnel. But the National Service Authority has a place where they bring in people who are coming in as private persons. So I couldn't do my service last 2 years when I was due because I had work, because I traveled, because I wasn't well. But now I want to come on. Now that gives the space for the service to do their own inputting into the data, which is where they start. And this data we got for 2022-2023 service year, that particular year. We begin to go into index numbers assigned to people in the name of universities. So you pick UUW. This is how originally the university gives their index.
So the index numbers are mostly just numbers?
Numbers, 202104003. But in the system, they create fake index numbers for people, assign them to UUW and say, this is it, 390 GHA, whatever, add it in there. Throughout the period of the story, we read out to all the universities. Some of them were on record even in the story saying, that is not how we do our work. That is not.
So where did you find these so-called fake ID index numbers from?
So we found this from the data that was made available to us, through our investigations, specifically the 2022-2023 service year. And
this data is where is it? Is it in the database or
in the database of the NSA. So our source pulls this data from there, and you see in the subsequent slides, we give you screenshots of what is actually inside there. So this data, and for mine, we have a tall list of Excel sheets where all these names are imputed in. Same happens for.
So you're saying that one potential means by which the ghost names are arrived at is that they create index numbers which are not real. Exactly. And then they assign it to
a university. I need to stress on the point that we have had one university issue a statement trying to say they disregard, we should disregard the story because they are not party to this. Our point is that it is not the creation of the university, or the university is not necessarily a party to this. These are officials at the NSA who have created these fake index numbers and assign them to the various universities. And we are saying, in fact, in their assigning, we realize that it doesn't tally with how originally the universities assign index number. And this is KNUST. We see thousands of this.
So just to be clear, if you look at it, 2018 1213,
yes,
it suggests that this person is a 2018 graduate with his number being 1213 or something. The code has a certain logic to it, right?
Possibly. I didn't go to KNUST.
You didn't go through that?
I am not sure.
But the investors confirm that they don't have alphanumeric ID numbers.
No.
They're all just numbers.
They're all just numbers.
Okay.
And this is, we at the newsroom, we have people who are also from KNUST. Where's your index number? Do you write? Where's your index number? And
so there's a consistent method they use.
Yes, exactly.
So you can tell if something is fake or not.
Yes.
Okay, just scroll it. So this is for UEW, KNUST, for UCC as well?
This is for UCC as well. You know, UCC has this for the arts. Mm-hmm. This is how they create it. But the fake index numbers has BEP, UCC, all manner of things going on in there for UCC. And then they have for UDS. UDS has quite a complex one, depending on the program you're doing. So BEd Basic Education, they have BES/0430. If you're doing BA Development Education, DES, if it's nursing, NUR, things like that. But theirs are not sensitive to anything like that. They just keep creating different numbers.
So basically, the universities have different ways of doing their original index.
Index, yes.
But the numbers assigned to people purportedly from those universities are different structure.
Entirely.
For the people are not real.
Yes.
And you are saying there are thousands.
Thousands of these names in there. Thousands.
So it's not, so basically you are not just using the discrepancies in the numbers. You actually saw the fake.
We have just picked a sample, you know.
Okay.
A sample from what is happening. So these are not just what is
so
there.
So there's more.
There are thousands of this in there. We are just picking samples so that, you know, for identification purpose, people can connect.
So your second layer of evidence was not just the difference in the numbers, but the fact that the ID number is fake.
Yes.
Which tells you that something wrong is going on.
Exactly.
All right, let's go on.
And there are a number of universities that are in UPSA. Pretty much almost all the public universities in Ghana and some training colleges, apart from Legon, yes.
So apart from University of Ghana?
Yes, we didn't find Legon in there, but pretty much all the other universities are shown up in there. Okay,
so this is the first level of information, fake ID.
Good.
Index. What else did you find?
We found in situations where some things were not making sense or are very illogical. So you find names, multiples of names appearing multiple times, or maybe one particular name appearing multiple times. One example is a gentleman called Abubakar Fuseni, and in there they assign a date of birth to him, which indicates he's 59 years old.
A year to retirement, not doing national service.
Exactly. Abubakar Fuseni is given again. He's a supposed graduate from UDS, read BA Integrated Development Studies, and was given a fake index number. Now this is also inconsistent with how UDS assign index numbers. But then we find that there are 226 Abubakar Fusenis in the data.
Wow.
These 226 are said to have read the same Integrated Development Studies program, are said to have completed from UDS, and in the same service year, 2022-2023.
That's a coincidence.
Very
one
interesting. Abubakar Fuseni 226
one
times.
Name 226 times.
Exactly.
Clearly there's a problem.
Exactly. And this is just the top we could find. There are others who could appear as 100 times, 50 times, 30 times. Interestingly, the names were almost all Muslim, names and things like that.
So they pick a name that is easy to be frequent.
Exactly.
Because a name like that will not occur frequently. Exactly. But a name like Abubakar Fuseni, there could be various combinations of that.
Muhammad Al-Hassan.
So it's easy to play around with those.
Exactly. And then the next thing that we found was the appearance of ages that were unbelievable. You were talking about 59-year-old Abubakar Fuseni, and you thought it was unusual. But we found 80 to 90-year-olds in the data.
Wow.
So Nimatu Salifu is said to have been posted to Piagi DA Primary School in the Upper West region, and she's 93 years old at the point of
93 years
93 years old at the point of being posted.
Maybe she's not maybe she didn't enter university early. She's a mature student.
In normal life, that should be a grandfather or a grandmother, you know, at home. Same for 91-year-old Ruth Abdullahi, supposedly from UDS, posted to Adakura Primary School in the Upper East region. 82-year-old Muhammadu Ali is another one who was posted to Anglican School in Sehuyoso, and in Abrim Anglican School in Sehuyoso in Western North region. And here we try to show a screenshot from the database of the NSA of the supposed Muhammadu Ali. And so if you could zoom in here, you just could see his details in here, his name.
So this thing you put number on the left column is actually in their database?
Yes.
That this is a national service person?
You can see from his face, the details and everything are here. His NSS number, where he was posted and all that is captured in the data. And we see a number of them. As I say,
wow.
The 92, 93s are perhaps the highest. But there are a lot of 50s, 40s, wow. 60s, 70s who are in there.
So this is a third level of problem you saw?
A third level of problems we saw.
Overaged, not just footballers, but service personnel.
Exactly.
Wow.
Now the next item we saw.
And by the way, a lot of these people were even born before UDS even started as a university. So that's amazing. Like the guy is 93, UDS is not even 40 years old.
Yes. Now, the NSA officials last year made us aware that they have deployed an app called the Metric app that uses facial recognition technology and also ID card system. So they say without the Ghana card, you cannot register to be an NSS personnel.
Okay.
If you don't have the national service, the Ghana card, you cannot be on the data to do your service. But we found a number of IDs, some of which are fake and some manipulated biometric data. So here we have the ID card of a supposed Ghana Fire Service person.
Okay.
Being in the data. Again, on the backdrop of the fact that they say it is a Ghana card that you need to do registration. Last year, early February, the former vice president visited the NSA, and actually they received applause that they had used the Ghana card because it is the only document, the parent document that you need to do a service. They've been able to clear 14,000 ghost names from the list, you know, and they were presented as an example for public institutions to follow using digitalization. Now we find the Ghana National Fire Service card in here. The name on the card is Ophelia Akogo, but the person who is on this name is Al-Hassan Salamatu. If you look at the faces, they are different.
So this is an entry in their database.
This is so you could see. Specify NSS number, details of personnel. This is a screenshot. We leave it in this way so people can see that this is indeed a screenshot from their system. Different
name, different picture.
Yes, different age. This is 1983, should be 41 years. This is 44 years. Different pictures, different names, and it goes on like that.
So fake IDs and stuff also in there.
Yes.
And this occurred also many times.
Yes, many times. This person is Nimfan Joel Satin using Bagabaga College of Education, a student ID card to do the registration. Now watch, here is a man, but it's being used for a woman. This is Idrusu Fatimata, supposedly from KNUSC, was deployed to the Gasuruku DA Primary School head office in Pandai district in the northern region. A lot of it
this is strange.
Pay attention to the Bagabaga ID card. This is Nimfan. See his face. That same ID card is used here, but with a different face, but the same name. Nimfan Joel Satin. This time, it is used for a man. His name is Idrusu Al-Hassan, also from KNUSC, supposedly deployed to Bukpam DA Business School in the Saboba district in the northern region. And it goes on. Somebody uses their private company's ID. Abdullahi Asia is an assistant cook at Picona Limited Tamale, but is able to use his assistant cook ID card to register onto an NSS system.
And the person is a woman?
Yes, but the name even here is also different. Al-Hassan Salamatu, 45 years old, deployed to Charungu Islamic Primary School at Wa Municipal District in the Upper West region. And the data goes on. Same for this one. This is a SNIT card that is used for that work. This one uses some screenshot of a passport or something like that also in the system to do. Essentially, what you are trying to say is that this is another means for doing it. The Ghana card was put in place to serve as a check, you know, because the Ghana card has some other features that help us to identify who this is. But they sidestep it and use different cards altogether. This one uses a sample voter's ID to do the registration. And you see different faces altogether on the list. Then something interesting, and I bring this to an end. We found one person in there who is Kwame Donko. Kwame Donko does not bring any ID card at all, you know, just a photo. And Kwame Donko is supposed to be 72 years because of the date of birth that is presented in here. But we see this man's face, and we are not quite sure this is a 72-year-old person. Kwame Donko was posted to Kansogo Basic School at the Boko West District. So the team decided to run a reverse image search to look for possibly who could be this person. And then we found that the person behind that photo is Emmanuel Mutuo, who is a human resource manager at a tech firm in Kenya.
Wow.
Yes.
And in Ghana, it's Kwame Donko.
In Ghana, his photo is being used into a data presented as Kwame Donko.
So maybe God created two. But this is crazy because he doesn't look even 50, not to talk of 70.
Exactly.
So clearly, a picture was just imported from somewhere and used
just to keep it into the data.
So these are some of the things you saw. We'll take a break. This is still the point of view. Tonight, we're trying to get to the bottom of the National Service Scheme scandal. My guest is Kweku Krobi Asante. When we come back, I'll speak to the director of the scheme, the new director, to find out what he makes of these allegations about work that was done before he got there, how this ties up to the government's own investigation into the same matter, and where that leaves the service. Stay with us. Welcome back. So, point of view tonight is trying to get to the bottom of the National Service scandal. Now, I need to point out that we have made efforts to speak to some of the officials who ran the institution within the period this happened. So a lot of this is from 2018 to 2024, and we've not been successful. We have contacted some of the officials implicated. One of them said to us that their lawyers would issue a statement by midweek to respond to the specific allegations around what happened within their tenure. From some others, we've not been able to reach them for comment. Now, let me cross over and speak to Felix Jemfi, who's the, I think I'll call him the new director of the National Service Secretariat or Scheme, or Authority now, that's the name. So Felix Jemfi is joining me to talk about what has been put out by the Fourth Estate in their work. So, Mr. Jemfi, good evening.
Good evening, Bernard. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And congrats on your appointment. How long have you been in office so far?
Well, today will be, I think, the 17th day.
Wow.
I'm counting right.
I understand you're already outside Accra, visiting and going around.
We have a project review meeting with one of our partners who I hope will extend our facilities further for the next 3 years so that we could expand our entrepreneurship business for Snell.
So I'm sure you have heard about this scandal, which is in two parts. The work done by the Fourth Estate and then the President's direction for an investigation into the affairs of the National Service Scheme following the request for payment for this year. I want to confirm if
Yes.
you are aware of both.
Yes, I am. I'm aware of both.
Good.
I do not have the details of the Fourth Estate's investigation, but of course, I collaborated with the presidency to release the information dated on the 81,000.
Well, this matter has been in the public domain since November last year. Maybe because you were campaigning, you were not following, but it was a big story. It went to court twice because the people had tried to injunct it, and then it was later sent to the OSP. So I'm sure, having been appointed, you would have averted your mind to this scandal, unless you're telling me you've been so busy you haven't followed the details of this scandal.
No, of course I followed it, but then when I mean the details, I mean the particular numbers we're talking about, the who and who were involved, who authorized what. That's the sort of details that I'm talking about. But as to the nature of the story, I am fully aware of it. Of course, what you should probably know is that I was still staff of the scheme until I was appointed by the president in January.
So you were working at the secretariat before you were appointed?
Yes, I was, but not at the head office.
So where were you?
I was in the Ghana East. I was the Ghana East municipal manager. Of course, I've worked at the head office and then been heads of departments of the various departments. I moved to Accra Metro as the Metro Director for Accra. That's where I was when the MPP took over, and then they sent me up north to Nadoli Kaleo, and then I was transferred back to Ghana East, which is the Bukobi, Kwabinya area, until the president's appointment.
Oh wow! So you are part of the system. So are you surprised to find out that between 2018 and 2024, there have been quite a number of so-called ghost names? I mean, Kweku walked us through. Let me just remind you of the numbers. So there's a basic difference between the announced eligible personnel and then the deployed personnel according to parliamentary data. So for example, for 2017-2018, the announced personnel was 91,871, but the deployed was only 88,000. So that was a deficit of 2,900, which we are told is normal because not everybody announced will be deployed. But from 2018, there's been an abnormal gap between the announced personnel who are eligible and the deployed. So for example, 2018-2019 announced personnel 85,708, but deployed personnel according to the list submitted for payments in the database is 135,608. So there's a difference of 49,895. This repeats itself in 2019, 2020, 2021, 22, all the way. And the figures are 49,000 for 2019, 36,000 for 2020, 38,000 for 2021, 29,000 for 2022, 64,000 for 2023, and 59,000 for 2024. I mean, what's your reaction to this?
Well, it's shocking. Like I said in my discussion last week, it's grim, it's despicable, to say the least. But, Bernard, I have said in earlier discussions that at this point, the fourth estate has put out an allegation, and it remains an allegation until it's proven by the state. That at this point, I think that they should allow the state agencies to do the investigation as they should or will, and then let the information come out properly. I am in office at this moment. I've received letters from, I think, RTI, and then the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now the president has asked the BNI, or the NIB, as we call it now, to do a proper investigation. My fear and worry, and I'm saying it for the first time on your channel, is that I'm sure there's a certainty that there are ghost names, but then we would want to secure convictions if the crimes have been committed by individuals. However, if we put numbers out, that would turn out not to be true. The case will lose its credibility, and I'm beginning to be afraid about it.
Do you have any indication that the numbers they put out may be different from the numbers that may actually be in existence?
I'll tell you what the general practice is at the National Service. And I'm doing this with sincere difficulty, because I do not want to appear as if I am defending that Dastardly Act. I have not been part of it. I will not. During the term of President Mahama, and God willing, my time, there will be no action that will perpetuate this, and nobody will receive comfort from me if that person goes on that tangent. However, the established standard is that you, because of the numbers going up in the free SHN and its attendant numbers at the universities, there's been a sharp increase in the number of requests that are sent to the national service in terms of people who have finished universities and all that. So what you do is that you estimate and send that to the Ministry of Finance in your projections for the year for personnel to be paid. That is not an actual when you are paying people or when people do register in the end. So if those numbers are made to seem as if, because they presented 220,000 for the 2024-2025 service year, they actually receive same, then anybody doing that investigation or making that allegation will be shocked that that's not what has happened. That would rather empower the people who are being accused to come out and feel liberated in the end. And that is the danger I seek we might come to. Of course, there has been some ghost names in the list. I cannot speak to the numbers as we speak now, but then the BNI would do a far thorough work, I hope, and then come out with a number from which the Attorney General or any prosecutor body who can take it to court.
But I'm sure the information they've provided in their work should be of assistance to both you and the BNI, because it's been painstaking work, and not only have they given the number discrepancies, they've also shown some very interesting things. For example, names that occur over 226 times in the database.
That is very true.
Those kinds of things are supposed to be things you will be happy to use to secure whatever I want to secure, shouldn't they be?
Of course. In their letters to the previous administration, letters to the Controlling Accountant General, they were requesting for personnel for payments for, I think, 128,000 people at some point for a month, and at different levels. They were requesting for an amount of 113 million Ghana cedis, I think, for October. In November, they requested for 128 million. We in January, in these same months, because they did not pay and we came to meet, and when we did our checks and our review, we presented 70,000 for each of the months. So we requested for actuals, and I think that is where we had gap of 81,000 coming up. Those numbers cannot be the same as 220,000 or 180,000 or so. So I'm urging caution here. So that, and then mind you, the people we are accusing are not speaking on radio. They are not coming on TV to say anything. We are rather giving them information to prepare their case. Let the BNI work in the quiet of all these things and put up very solid case that can be actionable in the court of law. Other than that, we risk derailing a prosecution if we have one.
Fair enough. I mean, we have contacted some of the people, and they have either been unavailable or have declined to comment in public. One of them has said to us that they would send out a release in the course of the week to explain their side. But I'm sure you do know that there is also social accountability and public interest journalism. And if media people have found the story, in fact, if investigative bodies were perfect, there will be no need for media. So we put this information out there to also be a check to even the investigative body, because these people did this at their own expense for almost 6 months. So, and nothing should prevent the public from knowing, even if the BNI or whoever is working last minute, because indeed, there was a government before this particular government came in, and the OSP itself was interested in this matter. So I'm just also pointing out, whilst you are saying there are potential disadvantages of discussing this, there are many, many public interest advantages as well, because the nature of our work requires that when we expose information, the public have to know so they can track the process throughout.
Bernard, I agree with you, and I'm with you on this one. The specifics that are being discussed is what I fear might embolden otherwise criminals to walk away. Now, if you accuse somebody of stealing 100 Ghana cedis, and it turns out that he's really actually stolen 20 Ghana cedis, you know the impact of that. So that is, in short, that is my point here. The other bit is also that in the last 1 month or so, the Kiddies case has been discussed extensively. I also wish that the new management of the scheme is allowed to set and to reset the police to work. I don't know if you'd understand that. It's a bit difficult having to wake up in the morning and then national service is being discussed in the space and it gives such negative light. It saps your energy a bit.
I understand this, but except, of course, when you have service personnel being paid what many consider to be paltry amounts, and then at the same time, it is exposed that maybe the state is expending much more on them than they're actually receiving. I mean, that should define your priority. So it's not really your choice. I know you want to set the agenda on what you want to do, but if your service personnel are demotivated or underpaid, and somebody is benefiting from that, obviously that is the number one issue for you.
Bernard, I understand for the need for the Fourth Estate and other media houses to get on with their business, and then I won't take away from them. Of course, the work of the Fourth Estate is so important. I mean, had it not been that, we probably wouldn't have known, and then the state would have lost hundreds and millions of Ghana cedis. By our estimation, and in dollar terms, that is about $50 million a year. We can have discussions and give these points or this evidence to the state, try it has come to light. What I'm urging us to also avert our minds to that we have tens of thousands of our service persons who are currently doing service. I would want us to separate the investigation from the day-to-day work of the National Service Authority and make sure that we get attention from that. I have come to Kwewu this evening because the MasterCard Foundation gave $13 million for the next 4 years to National Service. We've just gone past the first year. I've come here to reassure them that, you know what, with the money left and what they could even add, we would be able to get to poultry farms, maize farms, tomato farms, and then let people, the youth, begin to believe that if you did psychology like you or English and history like I did, after that you could set up a poultry farm and that set up a livable income activity for the rest of your life. And this is so possible because others have done it. And that's what I look forward to doing my time.
Okay, so somehow, I don't know how you got to know what I did. I actually did economics and geography and statistics.
All right, I got that wrong.
Not psychology. I probably needed more psychology because the way things are going in this country, I would need more psychological help. But thank you. Good luck. Good luck in your endeavor. Just a final thought. When your predecessors in the NDC were in the scheme, I think Mr. Kwabenu, he was very focused on agric. Is this something you'll be focused on too? Just give me your priority in the next 2 seconds before you go. What will be your priority as a director of NSS?
Of course, that's what I want to do because that is what we call low-hanging fruit. We'll do other things, but the center of our activity will be agric and agribusiness. So like I said, I mean, I've met people who have, why shouldn't a graduate from my background have a 2,500 poultry farm, selling it after every 4 weeks to KFC and making so much money from it?
All right.
Why shouldn't we have maize farms all around our table owned by graduates who did economics and then feed a factory in Sunyani to produce fructose rather than the factory going to set it up in the Côte d'Ivoire? And this is what I'm ready to encourage our youth to get into, that it is possible.
Thank you, Felix Jemfi. Good luck to you in your new role.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that was the Director of National Service Secretariat, Felix Jemfi. When we come back, we'll take my guest reaction to the reaction. All of that coming up. Stay with us. So, Kweku, you've heard Felix. He's in Kwewu. So I'm not sure he watched everything, but he responded to what I've asked him. What do you make of his posture on this?
Well, I am more interested on the part where he talks about the Fourth Estate, essentially, taking the wind out of the sail of the investigations. And I was glad on the response that you gave him, that we are journalists, we are investigative journalists. Our allegiance is to the public.
Yes.
And the public who need to know, right? And so this is supposed to actually help their work, and I'm glad he admits that and says it. we in no way want to, jeopardize, change, or influence. Well, if our influence is really going to ensure that justice is served, then so be it. But we do not in any way want to destroy their own investigations. But we think that the NSA has been a problem on our hand over the years, that the public need to know what is happening in there, and we own that responsibility to the public. And so I'm not sure we are going to hold back in any way. There are a lot of it that we are releasing today. We release a part of the story.
Oh, so the story is actually being released in parts?
Yes.
You're serializing it?
Yes. This is part 1. Today we have done part 2.
Hey.
And on Wednesday we are bringing part
3.
Yes. And so it's going to continue like that.
Even though the president has ordered an investigation?
Yes. It does not stop us in any way from doing our work. I think that these are reports or public records that should add up to their investigations and should not derail or take away from them. And we are going to keep to that.
At what point did the special prosecutor come in, and did they engage you at all? Or are you the ones who went to talk to them?
We went to the special prosecutor in December.
Okay.
When we realized that they were injuncting us and were trying to shut us up and prevent us from publishing the story. So we did a petition to the OSP, and we have been engaging the OSP since then. We are hoping that they will also come to the fore with their investigations. I hear the NIB has also been assigned to this work. I think we need to create a bit more euphoria. Justice must really emanate from the people, and if the public are informed in a way that they see what is really happening, it could be that they will do their own investigations and they will be privy to everything.
Did you speak to any official of the scheme? Because you said you wrote to them for information. Did you actually speak to any of them and represent their views in the story?
They were not available. They were not.
That's at the national level. But what about the district or regional level?
Yes. In today's story, we speak with the district director of the Western region. He oversees Western region and Western North, and he tells us that there was a problem that he kept hinting the previous administration, that anytime he goes into the system where he has to approve for the payment of the allowances, he will go in there and 900 plus have been already approved in his name. 200 plus have been approved in his name. He thought it was a technical problem, but he kept raising it and nobody did anything about it. We have indeed tried speaking to a number of the regional directors, and they all seem to corroborate the
So the only views not represented is the leadership.
The leadership whom the bat stop with when it comes to a scandal like this. They avoided giving their side of the story to us. Yeah.
I see. So, has the OSP told you where they've gotten to with their investigations?
Not really. You know how the OSP works.
Have they asked you for more information?
They have invited us. We've had elaborate conversation over 2-3 hours at their office.
You've given them what you have?
Yes, we're giving them everything.
Everything you have.
After studying
the evidence you showed me here and the
all
Excel
the Excel sheet, the screenshot.
Everything.
We submitted to them on a flash drive. After studying it, the OSP invited us into their office. We had hours conversation. They probe, and they assure us that they are up doing their own investigations.
Interesting.
At the right time,
So now the government and the president has also ordered another investigation.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So clearly, your work has led to this. So you have to be proud of what you've done.
We should be proud, but there's more to do. We'll take it as it comes. We set up this work essentially for this, a model kind of independent journalism to encourage the media space, sort of pull others along, see the impact of our work, and perhaps begin to think along the lines of leaving the everyday issues and trying to focus on some of these independent kind of journalism that brings impact to society.
Wow. Wonderful job. Yeah. Viewers, as we know, we say it here often, journalists' first obligation is to the truth. His loyalty is to citizens, and its work must always be in the public interest. So SP can work, BNI can work, or NBI or NIB. Journalists will also do their work. And thank you for making it worthwhile, viewers. Thank you. My name is Abubakar. I'm speaking to Kweku Krobea Santi, who is one of the journalists What's your role at the Fourth Estate?
I'm the program manager of the Independent Journalism Project, which is the Fourth Estate in Fact-Check Ghana.
Program manager for the Independent
Journalism Project.
Correct.
Under the Media Foundation for West Africa.
We also had Felix Jemfi, who's the newly minted Director General of the, or is it Executive Director of the National Service Authority, who joined us from the Kwewu area. We'll see you next time. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.